Hello everyone, welcome to Zebra video tutorial. Today I'm talking about how to input embodied carbon data into Zebra embodied carbon. So as introduced last time, Zebra embodied carbon calculates the whole life cycle embodied carbon of a building material and of the whole building. So as you can see in this graph, it covers all the stages highlighted in yellow in the life cycle. So you can see that some stages, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, and B7 are not covered. But besides from that, all the other stages are addressed too. So in order to make a calculation using a new material, which is not included in the Zebra inbuilt data for the moment, need to input on yourself the carbon factors and other relevant values of the material input into the Zebra database. So for you to get the required data, what Zebra currently covers is basically the data provided in the Institution of Structural Engineering guidance, and there are other places that you can from where you can get required data. For instance, there are some non-EPC based databases that you can directly get the carbon factors of a material in certain life cycle stages. For instance, the ICE database and BRE impact database. And there are other EPD databases, which is the more common ones that allows you to search for EPDs of building materials. So common databases to be used in the UK are BCD, EPD International, 2050 materials, BRE validation scheme, etc. So if you still can't find any information you needed in this databases, you can also just search on manufacturer's website to find EPD you want. So again, what is EPD? I haven't introduced it so far. Of environmental product declaration. So it is essentially a document produced by the manufacturer to illustrate the environmental impact factors to product declaration as BSEN 15804. So there will be many different a series of different contained illustrating EPD, and we are not looking at most of them as because we're only in carbon of a building material. So here in this case, we're looking at the global warming potential. So what detailed indicators values do we need to represent the global warming potential of a material, of a product in Zebra embodied carbon? So we need various indicators to extract from an EPD and report into Zebra embodied carbon, obviously. And the first one is name, and then the unit, which is a declared unit of the material or product in the EPD. This is important because it is about whether the carbon factor declared in the EPD is measured in kilogram, in meter, in cubic meter, in square meter, or in item P or piece. So, and then is the density of the product, which is the mass per declared unit. And then we also obviously need the embodied carbon factors in different lifestyle stages of the product. So the first one needed is embodied carbon stage A1 to A3, which is provided in all EPDs. And then we also need the waste factor. This is for the calculation of embodied carbon stage A5W. This is essentially to represent the quantity of materials wasted in the construction activities. And then we further need embodied carbon C3 to C4, which is from demolition activities. And then also the embodied carbon D, which represents the carbon embodied carbon from the reuse of disposed materials. And the last indicator is biogenic carbon in stage A1 to A3. So biogenic carbon is essentially the part of carbon that is extracted from the atmosphere and then sequestered in biomass, for instance, timber in a material. So any material with biomass will contain a certain amount of biogenic carbon. So in the latest standard, biogenic carbon should be declared separately from the other embodied carbon from fossil fuels and from land use. So, but in some older EPDs, you may not find this value. There's an equation provided in the assay, in the accompanying assay, to help you to calculate this when no value is presented in the EPD. And also, it is to note that biogenic carbon, the quantity of biogenic carbon is measured in kilogram of biogenic carbon, kgc, while the biogenic carbon factors are measured in kg's carbon dioxide equivalent. The same with other carbon factors. So please be aware of this difference and don't make a confusion between these two different measurements. Well, so now after the introduction, I'm showing you how to find EPD and extract relevant values and input them into Zebra embodied carbon. So I'm in the EPD International Database, which is one of the most popular database to find EPDs. And then today I want to find EPD for timber joist. So here I'm searching timber joist, and then two results are shown. So I would like to know more about the first product, which is the so-called JJI joist. You can see EPD document is provided here. So we click in EPD, and then we can see the document. So again, come back to what indicators we want. So we already get the first indicator, which is the name of the product. Here, the name is JJI joist. And then next, we want to know about the declared unit of it. So here in the LCA information, we can find that the declared unit is 1 linear meter, which is 1 meter. And then also the density is presented here. So the density is 3.635 kilogram per meter. So now we got declared unit and density. And then we're going to find the carbon factors. The first carbon factor is A1 to A3. So we just scroll all the way down to the environmental performance indicators. So you can see there are a lot of different indicators. So the first part is the mandatory reporting indicators according to the standard, and we are interested in the GWP, global warming potential. So here you can see that it reports 3 different categories of global warming potential separately. So we are looking for the carbon factors of stage A1 and A3, the total carbon factor, excluding the biogenic carbon factor, which should be reported separately in Zebra. So here we can do a simple calculation, which is adding the GWP fossil with the GWP land use and land use charge, and we can get the value, which is 3.346 kilogram of carbon dioxide equivalent. So we got the required input here. And then the next is the waste factor. We can browse through the document to find relevant information, and usually this is provided in the details of manufacturing. So the construction product use. So here, interestingly, you can find that it says that construction use stages were deemed out of scope and not included in this EPD, which means that this EPD does not provide a waste factor or the waste rate of the material, which means that we need to find it from other sources or maybe use average value, default value for the similar kinds of products. And in the Institution of Structural Engineering's guidance, we can find the waste factor, the waste factor of timber joists is 0.124. So we can just use this value. And then we need to find is the other carbon factors, which carbon factors C3 and C4. You can see it is all here. And note that for all the carbon factors C and D, we're not counting biogenic carbon separately. So what we can do is just simply to add up GWP total C3 and GWP total C4. And then the same with carbon factor stage D, it is presented here. So finally, GWP biogenic carbon, it is presented here. So this is biogenic carbon for stage A1 to A3. So having got all the required indicators values from the EPD, now time for us to input these values into the zebra embodied carbon database. So now I'm in the database sheet. I already scrolled down to the self-added materials section in our cells. So the first column here is to which sheet you want the material to apply to. So essentially this means which building element does the material belongs to. So here we are adding a timber joist, so which is floor. So here we should click upper floors, belongs to upper floors, and this way the new added materials will appear in the drop-down list when they add a new material in the upper floors sheet. And then is the material, which kind of material does our new added product belongs to. So here it is floor, and then this you have to enter which type, as you can see, which type of product it is. So here we're going to input timber joist, and then finally is the specification. So in this case, I'm going to input JJI joist, which is the product name, or if you don't have any specification to input, you can just input default. But I recommend you not to leave this blank, because there may be a conflict with another product that you later add in the same material family and in the same type. So to avoid this, maybe just input default or a specific name. So and then is the declared unit of it. So in our case, it's meter, and then this is the intensity. This is the density of it. The density of the product is here we go, and then we are starting to input the embodied carbon factors. So the first one is A1 to A3 is 3.346. And then the next one is the waste factor. We didn't have it, so we use the average value from Institution of Structural Engineering. So it's 0.124. And then is the C3 to C4, which is 13.3. And then is the D stage, it is minus 690. And finally is the biogenic carbon, which is minus 13.2. And this is the required values to be inputted into the database. And then it is to note that because we have separated the biogenic carbon and other carbons in stage A1 to A3. So here the values for embodied carbon A1 to A3 should be a positive value because it contains fossil fuels and land use and land use charge. So it cannot be a negative value, but instead here the biogenic carbon should be a negative value because it represents the amount of carbon sequestered, extracted from the atmosphere and stored in the product. So, and here finally we need to input the reference of the product. So here I can just simply copy the address of the EPD and paste it here. This is a record of the source of this piece of data I added. So here you can see it has finished the import process. This piece of data for the new material is now in the database, and we can just use it in our calculation. So for instance, we go to the upper floors and we can just input add a new material. So we had floor, that is timber joist, and then the specification is GGI joist. So the lifespan, we just put it to the other materials, put it as 60 years. And this product is produced in the UK, so we're just putting it national. And the quantity, we assume that we need, for instance, 200 meter of it. And you can see the calculation has now included it. We can see the total embodied carbon from GGI joist is 398 kilogram of carbon dioxide equivalent. So this is a brief introduction to adding a new material into the zero embodied carbon database using EPD. So hope you enjoyed this and have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.